So many collectors are really enjoying these Legends figures these days, and Shockwave is definitely one that seems a little bit absent in the third party. So I'm going to talk about Shockwave options that you could get right now, and really I'm going to talk about mostly about this kit that was built, and then the Hasbro Legends, which actually is a pretty good figure. And we're going to discuss which one's better, but the really real reason I even got this Warbotron WB01-F X-Ray is so that Bruticus could have a shockwave gun that actually transforms. I thought it was cool, so let's get right into this. Starting with the box, and mostly I want to show the box so you can just see what it's called. If you want to pause it, look it up. I'll try to find a link, but I've had this for like a year, and because it's a kit and you actually build a transforming transformer, it's kind of a pain in a way. It took me about an hour to put together just the figure, and there are still parts and stuff you'll see in here. So we have the instruction manual, and then all these, it came on all these sprue pieces, just like a model. It's like just like a model. These are the weapons and stuff, and here's the parts that I pulled it off of already and made that kit. It also comes with the screws. It comes with about 50 screws. And I went ahead and decided to build it, but I didn't do the weaponry stuff because I wasn't interested in that. I figured maybe I can let somebody else have that and do that, one of my friends or something. You get a screwdriver that says Warbotron. And I don't know if you guys know Warbotron. Well, you probably do. They made the combiner. They made two that I can think of. They made a Bruticus and they made a Computron, and the only one that's made of Computron that's worth anything. Now, I thought about filming the build of this figure, and I didn't because, well, Imago already did a really good job. Imago had the patience for that, but it would be like an hour-long video, or I could have edited it down a bit, I guess. And I really don't think that anybody wants to watch an hour of this. So one thing I want to say about building this guy is that I really do appreciate what goes into making a Transformer, even the Hasbro ones. I mean, this is on, well, maybe a little bit more complicated in a way, but maybe right on par with the Hasbro figure. It's more complicated than the Hasbro Legends, more like a Hasbro Deluxe complication, but nowhere near as complicated as, say, a Fans Toys or an X-Transbot or MMC. Any of those, even the Arcos is way a little bit more, well, probably about the same as an Arcos. So let's go ahead and bring in the Hasbro, and these are going to be kind of hard to compare perfectly, but it does go for a different aesthetic. It definitely is not, you can tell it's Shockwave, but it's not quite as Shockwave-ish. Now, neither one of them really nail Shockwave, but I think this one kind of looks a little bit more like it, and it's third party. They're both great options, and I actually think overall I like the color of that better and the look of that better, but then this does kind of get the silhouette a lot better. So I don't know if any of you guys have bought any kits like this and done a kit like this, but we're going to transform it. You got a heel spur back there. Yep, I remember putting that heel spur, installing that when I built this thing. And these are tight. Because I tightened the screws real tight. Split that. It's real simple transformation. It's a little interesting too, how it goes. But I don't know, I've never built a transformer before, and I think it's actually a pretty cool process of building a transformer. And like, if you transform these things, you kind of start to think, hey, you know, I can figure this out just because based the way it's engineered. And that's kind of how I transform most of my stuff. I just kind of figure it out based on how it's engineered, and so that's really how I do it. It's a pretty simple figure. Kind of glad that it's simple, because it would have taken longer than an hour to build. And I'm sure if I probably build some other ones, it's a side filler, which is cool. If I build other ones in the future, I could probably do it a lot faster. It's just the first time I've ever done anything like this, and I think first time to do anything like that at all is kind of strange. But here he is, and let's get him all straightened up and sort of cleaned up looking and get them compared to the Hasbro one. So, kind of a funny tidbit. I don't know if you saw my G1 collection video. So if you didn't, go watch my G1 collection video and see how crazy that collection is. But I found this. I was hiding it for my son because this is really my son's, and I needed it for this video. But I've been putting off building this guy, so it's been like 6 months that he's been looking for that guy. So he's gonna be so happy to get him back. And I bet you this guy sells for some money on eBay now. I don't know. I haven't checked. I wasn't really considering selling my son's toy unless it's going for like $100. And maybe I will. No, I'm just joking. But anyway, I think this does a better job of representing Shockwave. And I always thought this looked a little bit off. And I always felt like that. Like, I felt up until about Combiner Wars and Power of the Primes that they were just off. Then they gave us Closer, and now Siege is even closer in a way, but now they're smaller, and it's just, I don't know, we're getting into that craziness. But I don't know how many people are super into Chug, but I think this is a great option for a Legends. And I paid $16 for this thing, something like that. I would have gladly paid another $20 if it was already built, but whatever. Let's look at a side view of these guys, and you can see this, the difference, like $10, and I think he was originally like 30, so let's just go with 30. So 10 and 30. Much better. I don't like the color as much though. It's more of a lavender, more of a round one of what Takara gave us with that figure. And then there's the back of him open on there, some kibble on the back, and I'm sure I could probably make this kibble look a little bit better. And like, I would hope I don't need instructions for a Legends figure, because I would feel like there was something wrong with me. But boom. And moving back to this, let's also compare him next to a Soundwave. So here he is next to a Hot Soldiers Mech Planet soundboard, which is Soundwave. And, well, you know, he looks pretty good. Let's do a back comparison too. Now, I had the DX9 Soundwave. I sold it for just what I thought was a ridiculous amount of money. And then I picked this guy up for a decent price, and I'm thinking about doing a review on him too. Just, he's not bad. I think DX9 is the best so far on a Soundwave, but this dude here is really stout, so it depends. And he's even easier to transform than DX9's was. That looks good together. Now, as I said, the whole reason for this was to see which one would look better in Bruticus's hand. And so, as you can see, Bruticus already has a gun. And this is the Zeta. Now, they made theirs for the Warbotron Bruticus, not for Zeta. But, of course, I got rid of my Warbotron, and mine was the KO oversized. We're going to start with the Hasbro version, which is smaller, and I just don't even know how he'd be able to grip that. But Zeta does good work. And so there he is. So let's kind of turn him and be like, that's what it would look like in his hand. It does look a bit small. I agree. That looks too small. What does Bruticus think? Now, Bruticus is angry. So let's try to put this one in there. And then, if you can see the way that they have a port in there, that port right there would go into the actual figure. So that's probably a 5mm port or something. So it would go into the Warbotron one. So we don't have that ability with this, so let's see how Zetas can just grip it. With those beautiful gripping fingers and hands, can he hold on to this? And he holds it. And it looks good. And I'll probably pose him with it. There he is, holding on to a Shockwave. Now I've got Bruticus in a strange pose. Balance is kind of an issue with this guy. But I do think that I'm going to pose him with that, and I'm going to put him in a very dynamic pose and put him back on my display. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Okay, so the end result, here is it back in the display, and it's a bit of work moving these behemoths around, but this is where I'm going to store all these big guys. And first off, I want to look at the Bruticus. Now, this pose I put him in, I saw my friend Renee, his collection, we're going to be doing his collection very soon. but I saw him pose this, and he's got some great ideas, and so I like that pose he has in. Plus, I think that Shockwave just adds a bit of an extra touch to it. That other gun is so big, he just kind of hides a lot of the figure, and this looks better to me. That's just me. Of course, the Age of Superion, and those little wings keep falling off. There's another pose that I stole from Renee. Well, not really. It's an idea I got from him, but I don't think he poses his like that, actually. And we can see some DX9 Omega Supreme. So all these behemoths are in here. Hopefully we'll be cramming a Minosaur in very soon. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think about this little Shockwave thing. Let me know what you think about the Legends line, and if you like mixing those with these combiners, and of course I know a lot of people that love mixing the Legends figures with the City Bots. Like, subscribe, Titanium Hanger. Out.